Hi, Amy. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. I just made you the host,
Okay.
so you've got everybody coming in a minute. How are you?
I'm okay. What about you?
Tired, and I just sneezed, so
Are you still reciting today?
I am. When do you want me to do that?
Hmm?
When do you want me to do that?
Wait a minute. I couldn't hear you. Now, what'd you say?
When do you want me to do that?
You first.
Oh, okay, that's
I'm gonna
cool.
I'm gonna put them in the chat, and I figured you may want to go do something else. Seeing how you're footloose and fancy free these days.
Tell you the garden class is really taking a ton of time, and we haven't even started the growing season yet, but we hope to start some seeds next week, so that'll be fun. Hi, Richard.
Hello, Amy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yes, I'm fine. Um, yes, I had some sad news today. A friend of mine is about to pass, and he's a very close friend. And I talk most days on Facebook with him, So a bit. He's been ill for a long time, so it's not unexpected, but it's come to it tonight, So it's very sad.
I'm so,
But
so sorry.
yes, and one of my things is, nowadays younger people, which does not include Les, of course, my friend, um, they don't answer the phone if you video them or anything. They just want to text really now, don't they?
Mm,
Even my daughter doesn't always answer the phone.
I
and,
don't
and Les is
either.
somebody I could always talk to, and I'm really going to miss him. He's going to be a big gap in my life. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Um, I last spoke to him about 10 days ago, and he was in his hospital bed. And honestly, he looked so ill and old and thin. And well, I just thought, this is it, he's dying. And I was right, it's just, well, there you go. Anyway, sorry about that for bringing the proceedings down.
You can't
Um,
help it. It's life. It's
yes,
life.
yes. But you get to, I mean, Les is 76
Mm,
and I'm 73. So, at this time of life, you do actually have a lot of people who leave. So,
I do.
yes. I mean, I'm the baby one in the family, and I went to my sister's 80th birthday this last year. And that's amazing, isn't it? That my sister is 80.
That's lovely.
Yes. Um, so, yes, you expect these things. Mm. Oh,
Are you drinking something nice and warm? Can we
I've
toast?
got some water to make sure my throat lasts out.
Can we toast to the screen to continued life and continued cherishing of
Yeah.
loved ones?
Yes. Well, I have had a cocoa tonight, but with the performance, I'm going to be needing water, I think. And I've brought some. I've got some really good throat sweets, which I seem to suit me. So I shall probably suck one of those at some point. Yes.
That sounds good.
So
Have
how
you ever
how are
heard?
you taking your not retirement, but your gentle relaxing from Gestalt?
I wish it still. It was over the holiday and it was briefly in January, but I'm on a grant writing committee for an art gallery that I'm a member of. And I've got the garden class, which is 2 times a week, which is very time intensive to prepare for, but lovely to do.
Yeah.
Um, what else? And then there's a big event this April that I'm doing two events. One's online, and one is a multilingual celebration of literature here in Nashville. And I was not intending to do either of those, like manage either of those. So I'm
So
hoping
you're
to.
keeping busy. You're busy. Yes.
I was not intending to. I need rest, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to balance the rest with doing things.
Yes. So we went to see a play, a sort of musical play, but not a musical as such, um, which is called "Black is the Color of My Song," which is the life of Nina Simone. It
Lovely.
was lovely, and I don't know whether you can see my shirt here, but the
Ooh, I love
costume that
it.
Nina was wearing was this. It was not just like it; it was the same. Um,
That's amazing.
so it was quite amusing to walk into the theatre and see the poster of her, you know, dressed in my clothes. But
Were you wearing it then too?
I didn't wear that night. I would have done if I'd known. Yes, but I mean, a friend of mine said, "You mean it was a similar shirt?" I said, "No, I mean it's the exact same one." The only problem with it was a wonderful performance, but I don't think anyone sounded like Nina, did they? And this lady had a wonderful voice, but really sounded more like Gladys or Aretha.
Mm.
So it was almost like Aretha sings Nina.
Oh
But it was
my.
lovely, you know.
I'm glad it was good. I'm glad it was
Yes,
good. It sounds
it was
beautiful.
amazing. And this
A
is the most
wonderful
marvelous
tribute.
modern theatre in Grimsby, which is a fishing town. And they had me sign an app and zap with my phone, you know, and it went into my hearing aid, into the Bluetooth. And so she came on stage and picked up a piece of paper, and I heard the paper rustle. Never mind the words of the songs, you know, I could hear little things. And I thought, well, if this is possible, every theatre should have it, you know.
That's wonderful
Just,
technology.
as she moved, she opened a suitcase, and I heard the lid going up. You know, just amazing. So,
Now, do you hear fairly well with the open mics?
um, do I what? Sorry.
Do you hear do you hear fairly well with the open mics? I thought you were joking.
Yes. The only times I have problems is if somebody's talking very, very fast. If they're talking like
Mm,
this, you know, and sometimes they do, and then I have a problem. Um,
mhm.
and if they're very high, which some people are, then I
Or
have a problem.
soft. Eh,
But normally speaking, I'm fine with it. Yes. But
good.
sometimes I do turn the camera off because I've had cataracts and things, and after some of the longer ones, you know, like there's one called Like a Blot from the Blue, which is fantastic, but Finn is so inclusive and encouraging. It can be 4 hours, so I mean, after an hour and a half, I have to go off the camera. I can't sit there and watch these little squares for that time. And I've been really chuffed because I'm headlining on Block from the Blue whenever Halloween is. It's October, is it?
Late
October, yes,
October.
yes.
That's
Um,
exciting. That'll be
so
fun.
I'm doing the Halloween spot. So because I had an American friend, she's passed sadly, and she was she came over here and lived in Birmingham, so she can do a Birmingham accent, which is really strange. I can't do it, so there's no point trying. So she would turn from America to Birmingham and then do Yorkshire. And she was a great storyteller, and we're in a group called the Whole Storytellers, or we were. And she was Halloween obsessed and had these great parties, either at her house or that she had them in various pubs, and now I went for about 8 years, and I really didn't have that much interest in Halloween, but there were there was a Halloween poem and two others that you could say were Halloween, and I was aware that I was doing them every year, and of course the other guests were also doing theirs every year, and I thought this is boring. So in
Oh.
lockdown, I wrote 5 or 6 Halloween poems, and then just after lockdown, she died of cancer, so she never actually heard them. Although hopefully she's listening now. And
Hmm.
last year, we were on holiday in Lincolnshire, and I saw some very colourful old books with the dust jackets, and they looked interesting. And they were written by a lady called O, as in O for Olive, Douglas. And I thought, well, I don't know, they were 30p each, and they thought they're an interesting artifact. So I bought them because I thought I've never seen them before. And actually, they're very simple countryside tales of the 1930s. They're really interesting. And when you research her, she was John Buchan's sister. And John Buchan was Governor General of Canada, but also a very famous novelist. And he wrote The 39 Steps, which is his very famous book.
I've
Um,
heard of that, but I don't remember what it is.
yes, it's a sort of adventure story, Richard Hannay against the world, and all the evils that are going to take over the country. Um, and you could write it about now, really, couldn't you? And uh, in one of them, there's this piece about a tradition that if a virgin looks into the mirror at midnight, they will see the face of the man they will marry. And this just got me going. And I always thought Halloween was something that came over with Sabrina the Teenage Witch and things like that, and that we didn't bother with Halloween in England. But certainly in the 30s in Scotland, they did. And as I say, we were on holiday in Lincolnshire, and I started writing poems, and I wrote about 7 poems all about this virgin that looked in the mirror, and I kept thinking, stop, don't write another. There isn't another one. But anyway, so I now have far too many Halloween poems, far too many. And I was talking to Genevieve Ray. I don't know if you know her, but she's absolutely lovely and inspirational, wonderful. She's a great support to me. And so she suggested that we did a joint Halloween event. So we started organizing it. And then she promoted me to the headliner. But it was her choice. So I'm going to have to cut down my Halloween poems because I've got far too much. If I've got half an hour, I'll have too many. So we'll have to see how that goes. After this, after sorting out the program for this, that was my next. That's my next project to get that sorted, so I know what I'm doing, and then I must stop writing gory Halloween poems.
That's something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah.
Those would be good to hear.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hey,
good.
Angie.
Hey Deborah.
Hi, did you see that message I sent you about reading a post-apocalypse book and one of the few surviving places is Swindon?
I did. I replied to it.
Oh, I didn't see that. I thought, ever since I met you, Swindon is in everything. I don't think I noticed it before.
That's the best way, not
Yeah.
noticing it.
I mean, London's gone, but Swindon's survived.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it would. Not even the apocalypse will go near Swindon.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I'm glad some people have managed to find the link. I was a bit worried, we get a bit bipolar, but
Good evening.
Evening.
hey,
Good evening. I mean, how is everyone?
Fed up with the
fine.
weather.
Oh, yesterday was so lovely. I managed to get the washing out and dried. And then today, Eileen said to me, "Are you going to hang the washing out?" I said, "It's pouring." She said, "I haven't looked out the window." And she assumed it was like yesterday, but it isn't. It was horrible.
It's really windy here as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We just had snow here and it's kind of melting finally.
Mhm.
I thought Swindon had its own weather, like Everest.
An ecosystem.
Yeah, it's what can I say? It's got its own everything except decency and friendliness, basically. Can't you just tell I love Swindon? Swindon loves me. I mean, I got to be honest, Swindon loves me as well. So, I mean, the feeling's mutual.
Yeah, the railway line runs straight through it, and that's what you should do. It's
Yeah, I wish I could.
I don't think I've ever been to Swindon or even noticed going through it. Where would you be on the way to if you went through it?
Bristol?
Oh, right. No,
Bristol,
I've
yeah.
never been there. I've been to sort of Cheddar Gorge and places like that, but on
Yeah,
coach trips. So possibly I wouldn't have noticed where we were going through.
there's
I
not much
wonder
really to
about,
notice. I
I
mean,
wonder about the etymology. It sounds like an old English um, kind of place name, Windon. I know, like
it's
Reading is named after the Reading tribe of Britons that lived around the Thames in that area. And that's Reading, spelled Reddeen. I'm not sure what the origin of that is, but Swindon
it's something
sounds.
to do. The swin is swine. It's something to
Oh,
do with pigs and the ton is town. So I call it Swine Town. Well, I call it Swine Dump, but it's like near enough.
so you're living in some weird time loop, you know, lurking, hovering over the sort of an old pigsty or an old.
Yeah. You've been to Swindon. You know we're living in the time loop.
Oh, let's see.
Oh dear. I keep on getting new updates about this rocket launch with my poem on it going into the moon. Thank you. Yeah, it's changed again. I put a notice up on Facebook. It's changed again. And yeah, Mark Lippman, who's put together the anthology, I think it's now 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday evening. And the launch, that's when the poetry starts. I think the actual launch window is sometime between 7 and 7:30. And you put in a web link hyperlink, website hyperlink for the Kennedy Space Center. Now, I'm not sure. So the idea is that we know after the poems, we'll watch the launch. But I'm not sure how. I checked up on it. I'm not sure, whether they're going to be showing the TV images or online images. But I have to check that out and see how that works. But I found out though it's a SpaceX project. Yeah, yes, Amy, you may look like that expression. Right. I'm just yeah. I was confident before that my poem would end up on the moon, no, it may just end up immolated in a ball of fire.
Yeah, that's still quite an honor. It's just the
Yeah,
delivery
actually,
system. Oh.
yeah, it was kind of a cool idea, and also the special edition of the anthology that Mark has put together, which I'll be getting a copy of as well. So that'll be a unique sort of that's what I'm looking for, souvenir, I guess. Yeah.
I'm Robert. I'm a United States publisher, and what's happening with anthologies in the United States, they're selling very poorly. And my press is called Current Words Press. We had a solicitation for a anthology which we were publishing every other year for the last 4 years, so already had 2 editions. It was a Halloween horror themed anthology, and we charged $10 for submission, and then on acceptance we give you $25, which is enough to join the Horror Writers Association. And we didn't get enough submissions to go forward this year. So we stopped, we closed the opportunity. And it's very difficult to make enough sales for a publisher to go forward with an anthology for short forms, either short stories or poetry. So you're very brave to go forward with your Moon anthology.
Well, it's not me. It's not me that's going back. It's Mark Lippman. He was an American. And it was Vagabond Books. Vagabond is the publisher. Yeah. So yeah. Well, well, my tip for you then, Robert, is make a project. Have an anthology sent up to the moon in a spaceship.
Yeah.
Or you could.
Mark is having another anthology about the workforce, I think, and I submitted to that
Yeah.
for a visual. Are you familiar with that
I've
subsequent?
seen it. I didn't send in any submissions. I'm a bit busy at the moment getting together a collection which Finn Hall with Flack a Block from the Blue publishers is going to launch in 2 or 3 months' time here. So yeah, so that's another nice sort of thing to look forward to that I'm excited about. I've just been working on kind of editing and doing a kind of final um, sort of proofread, and I put them together and page numbered and made up contents pages and stuff like that, and acknowledgements and all that. So I emailed it off to Finn just earlier today.
It's a poetry collection?
Yes, yeah, it's it's going to be called "Going to Montana in My Mind: Poems from a Coffee Shop." Because I wrote I wrote a poem called "Going to Montana in My Mind." Finn was putting together an anthology about United States of America. You know, so he had one person from each state to submit a poem, and he put a notice up saying, "Oh, he hadn't got any poets from 2 or 3 of the states in Montana." I said, "Well, if you don't get one, I'll write an imaginary poem about going to Montana, if you like." Which he said, and then he turned around about a day later, the day afterwards, he said, "Oh, I've got one now." I said, "Okay, well, I'm still going to write a poem."
Are you familiar with the song "Going to Carolina in My Mind," which was recorded by?
Yes,
Yeah, you
yeah,
familiar with
yeah. I
that?
stole the idea, obviously, from James Taylor.
Okay,
So,
Yes, very famous here.
right.
yeah.
Well,
But I noticed when I was doing a bit of research to write the poem, when you look at Montana and the surrounding states, the one I'm not sure what the state is to the west of Montana, But when I looked at it, the outline of the border between Montana and the state to the west of it looked really like the profile of Richard Nixon. That's to me, but you can check it out. But I put a little line about that, because it's got like North Dakota, South Dakota, and I'm not sure if it's Washington or one of those Pacific states. It's the border on the but the thing is, I first was aware of Montana. I didn't realize it, and when I was a kid, we used to watch like it was in black and white, obviously in the 50s, growing up there. One of the first impressions of America, I watched this film. Was it The Big Sky with Kirk Douglas in? And I found out, read up about it. It's actually set on the Yellowstone River, so the Yellowstone Park, and that's in Montana.
So
So
yeah.
my first kind of love affair with America started, if you like, in Montana.
The place where you probably would have the most success at publishing your poem about Montana is to identify publications which are located in Montana and find ones that publish similar styles to what you wrote. Be the best place.
Yeah. Oh well, I have to wait until my own collection comes out first. But, yeah. So it's in there. It's
Yeah,
on the
I hope that people will join Blot from the Blue in either August or September, where the press, I'm one of the editors for Old Scratch Press, will be the feature
okay.
for that.
I'm on in July. Hopefully, with the launch of that.
Launch of
So
your
it's
book.
all poems that I've either drafted or started off sitting in Cafe Nero's in Reading. So that's why it's like poems from a coffee shop is the subtitle.
I'm headlining on there for Halloween. I've got a whole set of Halloween poems. I wish I'd seen your call for submissions. I have too many.
There's an American publication called Oddball, which has a submission called Horrorthon for Halloween. I will put the link for that in the chat, and I do all of the visual arts for that magazine. So I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get involved in this conversation, but I about a month and a half ago I started doing an anthology called Silence is Consent, and it's basically poems about what's gone on since the inauguration this year in America. And I've got over 35 poets that have already submitted, and a lot more to come. I think that particular topic is a topic that people want to talk about. So I think that maybe anthologies, they might have to do a topic as well.
Okay, everyone, we're going to start in a couple of minutes. If I have anyone that wish to recite and you haven't already signed up, will you put your name in the chat so I can add you to the list, please? Lisa, are you reading today?
Yes, I just put my name in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I saw a list of names coming up, and that's the reason I was just double checking. Lloyd, did you see my note that you were already on my list? Ben, you're on the list also.
Yes, I did see. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Also, I have some information and webs in the chat. Please make sure you check the chat for all the information. Okay. Uh, Ronnie, I've got the list in the chat. You're supposed to go right after Amy, but Sylvia, I need her to go right after Amy because her connection is always kind of shaky. So I let her go, if you don't mind, like let her go right after Amy, then you can come so that she will if her connection goes out, she will have already recited. If it's okay with you.
Angie, I could go after Sylvia. Would that be helpful?
You don't mind?
I don't mind.
Thank you, love.
I'm not seeing the list in the chat. I don't know why.
Nor me. I'm not seeing it either.
I'm not sure what. Oh,
Did you send it to everyone?
there's this off chance that I truly screwed that one up. Yeah, I did. And I think I sent it. It was Lord, did I send all? I was chatting just with I think it was Lord. And yeah.
I'm
I
not
Yeah,
did.
that's
seeing.
right. You sent it to me specifically when you thought you were sending it to the group.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
I'm sorry. That's the
Understandable.
only goof up I
Understandable.
made today. Give me half a second. Let me get this list up and add these other names to it. Okay. It's going to come in two sections. The first section is the ones that signed up. I already had you down. So can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I did it right that time. Pip, you already down. I already had you. Okay. When you used to typing on a regular and you hit the return button and it does what return is supposed to do, and now it's not doing, okay, what you're going to see is the names are going to come up separate. You should see Crystal, you should see Pip, you should see Robert, you should see Lisa, you should see Eddie, Lloyd. I'm just typing. Robert, Lisa, Eddie, Lloyd, Ben. Ben, did you say that you were reading or not?
No, I'm not reading tonight. I'm just listening in tonight.
Okay. Okay. Can everybody see that second list that's coming up?
Yes.
I see it.
Okay.
Yes.
Aaliyah. Aaliyah.
So when do you want me to do my bit, Richard?
You know, I heard this voice and I couldn't see lips moving. And so I'm like, okay, I know I hear him. You go first, of course.
Cool.
If you give me a
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
of course. I'm gonna make sure I got everybody. I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, if you all have not noticed yet, I'm flying solo today. Solo means if I screw up, everybody has to laugh, okay? Okay, we're good. So as I said, today is my solo day. I'm flying solo. So you guys, it's your task to make sure I don't crash. Okay? All right.
You're
Let's,
flying high.
yes, I am. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna make it over the mountains or not, but we're gonna try. Okay. For everybody I haven't said good evening or good morning to, I would like to say good evening, good morning, and thank you for being here. And I hope all of you guys are having a peachy blessed day. And our disclaimer for today is that the show is being recorded. And if you do not wish to be recorded, please keep your cameras off. Thank you very much. Painting is poetry that is seen rather than felt. And poetry is painting that is felt rather than seen. And that is by Leonardo da Vinci. And I would like to welcome all of you to the Gestalt Open Mic, where words jump off the page and make your imagination come to life. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Angie. I'm your host. And you guys got to make sure I don't crash today. Before we go any further, I would like to thank Amy for making today possible. She made sure, Richard, that you got your spotlight and we didn't have to have issues. We were having unforeseen technical difficulty, and Amy came through for us and made sure, Richard, that we could see and hear you. Amy, you rock. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angie. You're doing great. And I look forward to everybody and especially Richard's feature.
You and I both. Why don't everybody unmute and show Amy some love?
It's good to see you, Amy.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Thank you, Amy.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May the force. Can't do it.
Today, we have a powerful, dynamic poet with words that shape emotions. They tell story, no matter what walk of life we all come from. He can make us all feel good. Richard Harris I love your bio, Richard. I just want you to know this. It made my day. Richard Harris is a bipolar 73-year-old Yorkshire poet with RSD from the UK. He appears at charity and community events, also festivals regularly. His written word is varied and covers many genres. He can be political and angry. I love it. He can be political and angry. He writes children's story poems, comedy, so much and so much more. His serious work includes poetry about male breast cancer. He also does poetry about homelessness, depression, disability discrimination. Oh, wow, you're so full of great things. Two of his poems are my tongue's tied, are part of the Saboteur Award nominated Hunt Project. And if I didn't say that right, please let me know. Projects at Haringey. One of the poems is in this anthology was central to that play. Here's a World War I poem. Life is not working today. 12 hours. Oh, wow, cool. Was read on the Ypres battlefield by a military association exactly 100 years after the first shot of the war was fired, the battle was fired. When Hull was considered, Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Because look like my nerves have just shot me out. Richard, the mic is yours, sugar. Will you tell us about you? Because my tongue has gotten so tired.
Well, I can just read. Do you want me to read the bio?
Nope, just tell me
No.
about you.
Well, I write in all sorts of ways. Whatever moves me. If I'm angry about something or something made me hysterically laugh, I can write about it. If somebody asked me to write something about feng shui or karate or something that I know nothing about, I can't write to order. I've got 2 books out with Stairwell Books, but goodness knows how long they're going to be out because these things go out of print eventually, don't they? They're on Amazon worldwide and things like that. But if you're in the UK, you can get them from Stairwell. When the City of Culture, we were the European City of Culture in Hull in 2017, and for some reason, which bewilders me, I was chosen as the poet. And I did a video which has had thousands of views to encourage people to come to Hull. It was just me being me. At one point, I was fundraising for 2 charities, and 3 CDs of my poems were issued with local singer-songwriters turning them into songs, and they were wonderful. It was so flattering to, and I still go to concerts now. And Sunday, because I'm there, they'll sing one of my poems as a song, and it's lovely. So that's me, really. Would you like me to start?
Yes, the mic is yours.
Right. Well, I did mention I can get political, but I really can't watch the news being bipolar. It's just so overpoweringly bad. And this is a new poem and it's never been performed. It's called Global Disaster. And I want to dedicate it to Michael Singler because I got all the information within this poem from his page. I can read that. I can't watch the news. Well, it's not been writer's block exactly. I've been aghast, astonished, and bewildered that Trump could be elected at all, never mind twice. If we get out of 4 years of this mess without World War III, I will be delighted. I can't mention all the chaos he has caused since the 20th of January. If I did, this would be the never-ending poem. And in fact, things have got worse since I wrote the poem. Attacks on ISIS, actual bombings in the name of peace, Canada, Denmark, Greenland, Mexico, the UK, the EU, China and Russia, all criticised, interfered with and told what to do already. So then I am only going to mention one of Trump's insane actions, the appointment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health. He has no medical qualifications, no degree, nothing. He has spread theories that chemicals in the environment have caused people to become transgender or gay. Obviously, no knowledge of history or research before making such pronouncements. He openly opposed vaccines and has medically had damage to his brain, and in addition, was a heroin addict. He has made stupid statements about AIDS and has made ridiculous suggestions on many topics. Wi-Fi causes cancer, apparently, and school shootings are caused, according to him, by medication for depression, not folk owning guns far too easily. With just that one appointment, I rest my case. And I wrote another political poem about British politicians a few years ago, and it seems to apply now. And it's how and why an old man can spend his final years. I am now old in the autumn of my years, maybe even the winter of them. I am vastly rich. I've had a good life, no poverty, hunger, or homelessness for me. I can, in a way, be smug. I could buy a Caribbean island and have fun, and whatever rest I want or feel I need, I can go where I want, travel, enjoy life, no complications. If I am ill, the best treatment, expense does not matter. So it can be instant, no lying around for me on a trolley in casualty for 8 hours. But I like wealth and want more. A few billions is not enough for me. I like power and making folk crawl. I can call the lower classes the underclass, plebs, scum. I have thought about it. I will spend the last few years of my life making sure the underclass stays that way. No redistribution of wealth. Our lot is keeping it. No equality for the scum. I will keep them down with all my strength and my last breath. It will be stressful and hard, as I will be attacked by the left. I will be vilified, but I want that power. It makes me alive. It's better than sex for me. I will keep the bastards down till the moment I die. And this next one is, it's taken me an awful long time to find out and be diagnosed as bipolar. And it has explained my life a lot, and it's been cathartic. And so, of course, I wrote about it. Discovering myself. My life has had turbulence. I've not always coped. In fact, 3 breakdowns, full breakdowns, diagnosed clinical depressions, 2 full years off work, 1 year unable to leave the house, largely in bed. Psychotherapy, cathartic, helpful. A man who really should not have been a father as my dad. A mother who died of cancer at 50 when I was 13. A sexual predator, paedophile as a stepmother, all caused damage, terrible damage. A sister with ADD, attention deficit disorder. That sister dying violently at 49. All these things causing harm. Panic attacks over things. Cancelled holidays. Being dealt with unfairly. A situation at work causing the worst breakdown. Attacks and slights taken vastly hard. Things I knew in my brain should not affect me, but did. Haunted me for weeks. Then the discovery that I was due to my early life bipolar, with excessive highs and lows in my reactions to life and the crap it throws, and that I also had RSD, rejection dysphoria syndrome, unable to regulate reaction to rejection, a moment of startling self-revelation, a huge understanding of myself, a calming to an extent. I know why there has been so much pain. I know I must try very hard to avoid crisis, confrontation, toxic, venomous people, remove myself from noxious situations. I feel this knowledge is a great step forward. I finally discover myself. I can now move on, understand me, and be me whole. And in lockdown, I wrote a letter to my mother, which is in my first book, Awakening. I've recently written this to my sister, Judy, who was so vastly understood. To my late sister, hello, Judy. I am in Harrogate, where we grew up. At sister Susan's 80th birthday. Yes, she is now 30 years older than Mum, and 31 years older than you got to. I now write and perform poetry, and some of the best is about you, telling your story and keeping your memory alive, making it clear that you were not a wrong one. Meg is here too, and cousin Rosamond. We are all grandparents. Maybe you are too. We hope Zoe, your baby, will try and trace us. Things are different now, and people with problems you had are understood, helped, supported, and given therapy. You were unhappy, and your life was chaotic. I know you had ADD, attention deficit disorder. You had no blame and could have been helped. I hope you are able to hear this letter, or see me writing it as I think of you, that it will help you feel, realizing this was a huge relief to me. So I write this rather than raising a glass to your memory, as it's now 7 years since I had a drink. And then I have one with a warning, really, because it's about abuse. And it's just been published by the highlighted Neurodivergent and Disabled Life magazine. So I'm delighted. They're raving about it and want me to send more in. It's called Into the Wood. Get your coat on, we'll take the dog out in the woods. Happy, age 7. Sunday morning, off we go, mad Dalmatian running round, trashing away to my dad, asking about flowers, asking about trees. For God's sake, stop chattering. Walked in silence, not sure what to do. Walk in front of me. So I did, 100 feet away, silence, confused. What had seemed to be a joy was now awful. Silence continued. No one spoke. Patted dog, who sensed I was upset. Silent walk all the way home. Some Sunday morning. Now, years later, I know that he would have been pissed the night before and went for a walk to clear his head before he got pissed again. Now I know about alcoholism. Now I know that it was not me, not my fault. But then I blame me for being awful. I don't think I knew the word scum, but that's how I felt. I truly believe a lifetime of low self-esteem and fighting depression started there in that beautiful, lovely wood. And then to change the tone slightly, this is one I wrote after a workshop last year with Jim Hygo in Hull, and we were talking about metaphors and similes. And this is differences. The beard was long, so long, white and bristly, hanging firm and 6 inches down from the chin. It separated and hung in 2 parts, making the old man's visage seem long. So long, his face so old. He lay asleep on the grass bank, and a bird, a wren, landed. It pecked at the wiry hair, then discontented flapped its wings and tried to fly away, but to its distress could not take off. Its tiny taloned feet caught fast in the mishmash of the hair. The rock was covered in seaweed, tangled and messy, many varieties, some long, some bulbous, all slippery, wet and slimy. Onto it crawled the crab, small and hungry, looking for nibbles to eat. It found some food and was happy. Eating contented him. He no longer had to hunt. He just let the water lap over his shell and rested, occasionally moving slowly. Then a wave washed over him, and he was covered with long weed that tangled and trapped him. Neither could move. Neither were free. Neither had choice. Neither were without fear. Endings can vary. They differ, and they are not fair. Perhaps it is fate. Perhaps it is chance. These are 2 different stories with 2 different ends. The old man stirred, not yet awake, felt something instinctively attached to his beard, and he brushed at it fiercely with his strong left hand. He crushed the tiny wren, who died in a second. The crabbit struggled and was getting weak, losing hope and about to give up, when a wave came a-crashing, and it swept it away, letting it to float to freedom and to live another day, a predator itself. These tales of entrapment have such different ends. We never know the future. We never know our ends. So do remember to enjoy every day, for something with the texture of that beard may enter your life, or you might find yourself with a metaphorical rock. Whichever is yours or mine, make sure your last moments count. And I was on holiday some time ago and heard a woman say something, and the phrasing caught in my mind and became a story. So this is Mary becoming herself, and it's told from Mary's point of view. Oh, Mary, it's a year today. You must miss him so. My face froze. I tried not to smile. I managed. It looked sad. Yes, it's so hard. Every day is different. I am alone. It was more than 50 years, wasn't it? Yes, I managed to say, brushing my hand to my face as though to hide a tear. I must go, of course, dear. It must be such a change for you. I did not reply. I moved on slowly, wanting to dance. Why had I let myself be bullied, ruled, and beaten for so long? I have no idea. Bloody hell, every day was a party now. I have a love of my life and no dread. I wonder if I will ever get to feel I can just say, no, I'm bloody glad he's dead. I am healing gradually after so long, cowering under his misogyny, bullying, and the fear, his coercive control. Thank God he was a mean, tight sod. So I now have security and wealth. I try to control myself when approached like that and not dance in delight. Maybe one day when I am healed, that will feel oh so right. Till then I will keep my pleasure inside. I will not show my joy. And I will make sure no one ever bullies me again. I will let my spirit free. I will be me. And I had a challenge to write a poem. I'm in on a couple of pages on Facebook. And this, you had to mention surgical gloves and a glass vial. So this is perfume and gloves. The gloves had been clean, indeed pristine, when I stole them from the doctor's surgery. I only had a moment when he left me alone. The vial had been full of perfume. You can fit enough strychnine in that, enough to kill a rhino, never mind get rid of him. My plan worked. Well, it would. He was always pissed by midnight, laying back with his mouth open as though there's no sign that I'd been there. He was drooling, just had to hope he was not sick enough to expel the poison. I squirted the fluid right to the back of his throat and held his mouth shut. He struggled and twisted an arch. It was over fast. I had on a hazard suit, no cross-contamination on me. Looked at the gloves, they were grimy from the muck on his face. Washed out the perfume vial, put it in a drawer full of odds and ends. Then the suit and the gloves came off once I'd opened the front door a crack. Into a bag, later burned. I slipped out unseen and went to carry on my new great life after this escape from him. And I have to admit that my father was somewhat in my mind when I wrote that poem. A dear friend of mine was very badly disabled, and she told me this story. And it's just unbelievable. It's been published in the Drive.
And what do you do?
Hello, something happening?
Yes, judges.
Hello? Hello?
I think somebody needs to mute.
Yeah, they have done now. It should be okay. It wasn't me, by the way, but they have done. I noticed it.
Something funny happened. I disappeared from the screen. So anyway, this is scene disability. She was adult, but short, only 4 foot. Her frame was twisted, her neck wide. She was disabled, but she was a bright, wonderful woman. She trained, was intelligent, fully capable of having a full and rich life. She had a career and did well, working hard, fell in love, married to a man with no disability who adored, even worshipped her. Not for her disabilities that could not be seen, they were obvious. She loved her life, but occasionally told horror stories about how she was treated. She would sit down at a table in a cafe. Folk, adults, grown up, so-called mature people would sit and stare directly at her for long, really long periods. She would stare back, holding their gazes, eyeball them until they gave up. She would not look away, not be defeated. Then she'd sit down in a cafe to have a meal, and parents at the next table would move chairs around so their kids did not have to see her. They faced their kids away. What a way to bring up kids, to make disability seem to them to be wrong, something to be horrified or disgusted by, or maybe scared by. It is terrible when people discount disability because they're not seen and not believed in it. But how awful is this, to see a disability and treat a human being in this way? Then a very popular poem that people often ask for, and it was the title of my first book, Awakening, and it's called Awakening. It was also a rock song on the CDs. The vast stone woke up from its sleep of 1,000,000 years. It felt deep inside itself, down to its inner core, deep into the earth, to the center of the planet. It looked outwards down the steep hill at the world, which had changed since it had last been awake. Then the planet had been verdant, fresh, pure. Creatures of all kinds had existed. Great lumbering beasts, small animals, birds and insects, all surviving and leaving no imprint, no destruction, no sign of their lives. Now the stone, the spirit of the earth, viewed with dismay the destruction of the planet. Creatures on 2 legs, walked, ran, existed. Behind them they left things, mess, litter, destruction. Translucent things were on the ground and in the oceans, things that looked as though they would be there for thousands of years. Violation of the planet everywhere. Grasslands covered, forests destroyed, smoke, pollution everywhere, so unnatural. The stone felt it should fight back, and it knew how it should. It could raise a volcano, cause reaction the planet over. Destroy these creatures. Let the planet recover from them. But then it thought deep and went back to sleep, believing it could wake again in 1,000,000 years, and the destructive two legs would be forgotten, gone, having destroyed themselves completely. And I'm going to finish with the two poems written about myself and my sister and homelessness and bedsitter poverty that were in Haunt, which was a play put together by Becky Cherryman and Steve Toast, but they included my work in it. And we, as a team, got a Sabaton nomination. We didn't win it, but it's very nice to get the nomination. I grew up in Harrogate, and this is my story. I grew up in Harrogate, affluent. My dad was Richard, director of ICI. I went to Ashfield College as a boarder, although my home was in the town I boarded. My mother died, and then within weeks, a stepmother arrived so fast. I was hurting still, bewildered. Time passed, and I was not welcome home, homeless in the holidays. So I went to friends and relatives, stayed with them. But then I left school, grew up, stayed with another sister for a while. But then the time came to leave, stand alone. Dad was now in Belgium. I was not welcome, got jobs in bars and hotels, moved into a bedsit on stray rain. It was dirty, lonely, awful. An old woman rented a room, not a home to me. Not allowed to see her telly or sit and speak with her. Her dog shit in the bath, for which she charged 10 shillings extra. The bath, not the feces. She was not surprised by this, and when I complained, the final straw was when she made me a coffee. Breakfast was included. There was a dead spider floating on the top. She neither saw it nor cared. I gave notice and she tried to screw me for an extra month's rent, even though she knew I had nothing and worked in a bar. It was a dreadful start to my life as an adult. I left school looking to the future, excited. Then this. I grew up in Harrogate. And then this is Alone in Harrogate Town. This is the story of my sister Judy, who was murdered at the age of 49. I was pregnant, homeless, often drunk. This was the 60s, meant to be swinging. Sandy Shaw and Petula Clark did not live like me. I was judged, despised, called a tart. Lived with friends on their couches, on their floors, stayed in Harrogate, stayed in Knaresborough, wherever I could, whoever would have me. I used to stand on the steps of the Alex, near the posh cenotaph, near Montpellier, near Austin Reed, where my dad shopped for clothes. I was short and blonde. Folk said that I was like Sweet Haley Mills, another part of the 60s, that for me did not swing. I held a pint in my hand. Men would look amazed, say daft things like, big drink for a little girl. Girl, I was 20. Bet you a pint I can drink it in one, I'd say. They took me up on it. I supped it fast, got my next drink, and so it went on. Then I'd wake up in a strange bed with someone I did not know. My dad. Help he offered when I got pregnant. 100 quid to change my name by deed poll before the baby arrived. She was born in Harrogate Hospital one night and I was alone. When she came, I loved her, but I did not get to keep her. I gave up my baby. I had no place to call home. She was adopted, gone. I carried on. No home to call my home. I never had another baby, and I never had a home in Harrogate, that fine town. Thank you very much. They are, those last two are both in my book, Awakening, which is you can get from Stairwell Books. However, how long it's going to be available, I don't know. And then Iconic Tattoo is the second one. I'm very pleased to have two books out and many publications all over the world in all sorts of anthologies and things. And I hope someday some publisher else will also want to issue my my work. I have 3 or 4 manuscripts submitted at the moment, but who knows? I'm trying not to get bipolar about it. Thank you very much.
Angie, you're
Please,
muted.
please unmute everyone and show Richard lots and lots of love.
Applause, applause,
Great.
applause.
Very good.
Wow.
I hope you.
Wow.
I tried to plan it.
Wow.
I really wanted to show some good, significant work that I am happy with.
You
and
succeeded.
that I want to do. So
You
I tried to
succeeded.
put it together. I've thought a lot about it.
Very good.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
much.
Richard, I want to thank you for an afternoon filled with nothing but awesomeness. I love every poem. I can relate to everything in every poem, and I sure hope you'll be back soon. Will you make sure that you put the information for your book or books in the chat so that everybody can support you?
Yes, I will do indeed. Thank you.
Again, thank you.
Thank you. I'm now going to read all any comments there are.
Yes, make sure you do. That was my next thing because the comments that was coming in, I was thinking the same thing that they were writing. So everybody felt the same way about you. Awesome.
Thank you very much. I'm kind of tearing up now, so I'll turn my mic off.
You should. I mean, you should be happy because you really brought it, and I'm really happy I heard you. Now it comes to the time when we have poets that's going to show you love. It's time for our open mic, and I would like for our poets to know that you have up to 5 minutes with a maximum of three poems. And if the poems are long, make it 2. Our first person up is Sylvia. Sylvia, are you still here? Is Sylvia here? Sylvia, unmute.
Okay, I'm new. I'm reading the same poetry that I read recently, and this is to signify young love. It's a poetry that I wrote and I collaborate with Canadian musician C.D. Ontario, and he make it into a song and recently sang at a Canadian Songwriters Night. Okay, I'm going to read the poem. Love is in the air. There is that through mutual understanding. Love is in the air, wiggling of toes, laughing in the air. Love is in the air, whisper sweet nothing, making love with soft music. Love is in the air, feeling the sense of fabric. Love is in the air, coffee brewing in the kitchen, the smell of omelette. That's for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia.
Okay, that's for all.
Do you have another one? Sylvia, do you have another poem for us? Okay, Sylvia, you kind of fading in and out. If you have one and your connection gets better, I'll come back to you. Amy, you have the mic. Ronnie Tucker, you're next.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. So powerful, real. As Angie said, so relatable, just poignant, everything. Thank you. Okay, this first one is called Send Flowers. Send Flowers. Darkness and light are portals, finding the luminous journey, breathing deeply into the palm of my hand. You refuse to read it. What say my fate lines, lifelines? Cinnamon stick, evergreen frond, flowers laid at your feet, drying to dust beneath your Buddha's repose. Prayer comes naturally now. Connect to the light spirit of being a first grader, dressed in bright yellow, eager to learn. I knew how to shine back then. You became my mantra. I leaned too hard on honeybees, butterflies. I leaned too hard on stars, flowers, the sun-warmed stones of Machu Picchu. They fell deep into emerald canyons. In the 60s, you put a fresh flower into the barrel of a gun. Flower child, flower girl, where have you gone? Real life falls away from the headlines. Discarded people on the sidewalk. Hearts break over and over until they're numb. They fight over the corner, 7 gunshots. Fear engulfs with its flames. The countryside is for sale. Pray from the bottom of a deep pond. Sink roots deeply in the mud. From the mud, I send green leaves to the surface, send blooms as a response. The first one. Thank you. This next one is from the 1990s, like maybe 1997. And it was published recent January of this year in the Cycle journal, Cycle issue of Maori Literature. I got it right. Okay, it's called December Dialectics and Physics. 60-minute universe, the physics of the art dialectic, Newton's random apple Eve, science contemplating the mind contemplating itself, like the flow where the scientist can't know the frontier of the brain juice. A string of cubes where each year lives, where each movie is a grain of sand compared to the whole of experience, which is carried forward unum, hourglass, time glass cubes. The dialectic of philosophy and art, when art is part of the soul and the soul breathes experience. But the artists lived in other centuries. They just missed each other. Somehow they converse, originate, and respond. What bursts original and what from the hearing, senses, absorbing, avant-garde, native, and movements. Libraries holding voices dry with spines. Galleries present associations through your eyes. Magnify silence and sounds in response, like fragments from the depths of the subconscious coming through the wire, or colonial mirrors of the payors in fine paint, El Greco showing their eyes soulful, Cortázar speaking from the side of the bench photo, curls and spirals in his words himself. A pearl is formed of an outline with one crescendo, decrescendo crash. Jesus is born of a December 2nd where joy lives, an instant, a grain of sand, a grain of saint, a piece of salt, saltpeter piece. Love mixed in with all the pain of all those who have died for nothing, nothing. And the love is perfect compost wherein new babies form pearl bubbles at breasts, yet it weighs. Incandescent the sky in winter, broken opalescent lavender ices. The winter glaze in Doom's eyes is shock, still milk curdled cold, and something still survives. It is ghosts living within you amid laughter and traffic gurgling. A leaf falls spiraling with variable factors, mass, shape, position on limb, angle on limb, gravity, air current on start, currents during fall, this barring people, cars, tree limbs, other leaves, chance, and the odd candelabra. As light as smoke, as heavy as that smoke from a cigarette slowly spirals, hangs in the air, and falls. Your breath into it steady creates a lower stream, which causes smoke to stretch itself and curl like a cat's back, or suddenly like a thought stream snaps, a snowflake melts.
I love to hear you read. You have such a soothing voice. I love to hear you read. And then
Thank you.
your words paint just like your paintings and your pictures. It, you can visualize, especially the cat part. That was cool. Thank you,
Thank
Amy.
you. Thank you.
Ronnie, are you ready?
Yeah, I didn't know if I get the unmute right or not. Now, I had one I was going to do, but I figured I'll just do these other ones. And man, I don't know following them because I consider myself an amateur, even though I've wrote since over 40 years ago, but I'm still nothing like these people here. But I'll do this is my long one, and it's called Arcana and Ambience of the Luminous. And I'm not too good at this stuff here, but here it goes. Blood flows where all life begins. Sacred emblems treasured. The holy lance that drips the blood of the Christ. The hallowed sword which beheaded the Baptist. The beautiful hair of the Magdalene who washed the feet of the Savior. The Fisher King's wound that refuses to heal echoes the mist of forgotten time. The myth bleeds the legends, whose grain of truth is hidden within. Unto the sword of David, who is but a dream lost in the ages of Solomon. The destiny of man lies behind the ages, so dim the past has forgotten. The four aces of the tarot suite, and the dawn arises in our gentle minds. As the vapors become so intoxicating, we ride with the screams of the Valkyries. The banshee chief's cries chimes through the darkness. Who pulls back the veils from the Black Madonna's face? Who wipes her tears as she mourns for her master and lover? Her heart is on the shores of France, she who is the apostle of the apostles, the holy grail, the vines of a sacred bloodline who is worshipped and immortal. Through the intricate branches weave the tale, for if you look deeply within, you might come to taste the sacred fruit upon the vine. Those were the days of heroes and battles, and sages and pagan times. Mortal flesh and immortal gods, themes of pageantry and cries of war. Magical and mystical visions of the Horn of Plenty, crystal halls, and the hidden castles behind the pools of the refectory. Embrace the passion, for those days are gone, overrun with the clerics and priests, relics of the crucible of victors of the Christ. Who is Isis? Who is Diana? Who is the Virgin Mother? And who is the Magdalene? Are they but sisters of Arcana? For the eternal woman is the womb of divinity, something to be worshipped and held above all. For the goddess is sacred. Blood rose, a sacred allergy lost in time. So mysterious, 'tis food for the minds, an ambience of luminous experience. Christ's companion and bride is the lily so divine. O hail the solemn queen, Mother Earth, the goddess, the root of the times. Missed so long ago. One day paradise will be regained. Only now a cry of tears of pagans past, whose days are long gone, lost to the age of another world. I'm going to go ahead and let somebody else come now when you have a little more time, because I got another one, but I think that'll be a good one there.
It was a very good poem. If I get a chance, if we have enough time at the end, I would love for you to come back and do another one. Will that work for you?
Yeah, I got, like I said, another short one if you want me. I just didn't want to take up
Go
too
ahead.
much.
You got the mic. Go ahead. Ron, you're after Ronald. Go ahead. You got the mic.
It's the weight of dreams. Angels fluttering in astonished eyes as the cosmic stream is unfolding. Can you taste the sounds through the confusion? It's a constant illusion. Surreal, so sweet, in the dreamscape so real, and you can really, really feel. Tranquil is the vision. Light up the love, the stars shine bright tonight. A voice cries out, echoing like a beacon. The mantra is shining through. In the ether, gleaming colors dance so brilliantly. Reflections passing in ever-changing shapes transpire to mystical delight. Enter in the exit of time. See the broken faces that mirror eternity. Believe in the voices playing in your head as you float through realms that grow inside your head. Sweet infinity chimes in the same way, away from the mind, free from the stars. The way to dreams so lost at the edge. Prisms is the same, forever straying. Nighttime flows with the dreams. In a mystical ocean of the mind, magnificent is sunshine awaiting the dawn to break the mists of day. The awakening is the hardest in this realm of mystery. And that was called Way to Dream.
Awesome. Both of them were awesome. I enjoyed them. Thank you for sharing. Ron, you're next. And Deborah, you got the mic after Ron. Did Ron get kicked out? He was here.
Yeah, that was the last one.
I think he must have gotten kicked out.
He posted a message saying that he got to go and walk his dog.
I'm sure that dog was really demanding. Next will be Deborah. You have the mic. After Deborah, we have Ian.
Okay, I have two. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, because sometimes my external mic doesn't work. The first one's called The Untouchable Man. He moves like moonlight, dancing where the shore meets the sea, a vision of elegance, a figure steeped in a lure of red wine, a masterpiece sculpted by gods who knew perfection, untouchable, distant, as the last note of a fading love song. Draped in a suit that fits like poetry, midnight silk flowing over a sculpted frame, each step deliberate, an artist signing his name, his footsteps rhythmic against the marble floor. My heart beats to the cadence of unseen drums. His very being a revolutionary work of art, flawless, innovative, unique, a Picasso and Andy Warhol, unparalleled, a vision that defies replication. Brushstrokes daring the canvas to capture his brilliance, no frame can hold the fire in his soul. His eyes twin constellations, knowing, aloof, holding secrets he will never share with me. Confidence hums in his wake as he passes by, leaving the faintest trace of Clive Christian #1, a scent that clings to the air, lingers on my skin, though we never touched. He is rare, distinctive, irreplaceable, a one of a kind, a lost Da Vinci, an unseen Basquiat, the Taj Mahal at dawn, kissed by the rays of the rising sun, a myth turned flesh, a man who exists just beyond my fingertips. And I wish, I ache, I dream, how I long for him to be mine. But how does one touch what isn't theirs? How does one claim an avant-garde masterpiece? I can't, it's not mine to possess. Admiring the Kohinoor diamond, surrounded by armed guards, respecting what I can never have. I stand breathless, longing to own, yet can't. He was never meant to be mine to hold, a man so unfathomably true. Is he only my fantasy? He walks past, moonlight slipping through my fingers, real yet only a brushstroke in the gallery of my dreams. The second one is called In Defense of Their Sacrifice. Give him a chance. You know who I'm talking about, the guy in the red hat. A chance? Hell no. We ain't going back. Back to chains, back to fear, back to silence, back to tears. Watch progress vanish, disappear. Lynchings, Stonewall, Rosewood, Tulsa, genocide, Salem, banned books, history erased. You ask me to forgive, to forget. Nah, I can't do that. The blood of the dead ain't even cold yet. I won't stand by while you rewrite history, erase their struggle, snuff out their light. They marched, they bled, they stood, they fell, burned alive, beaten, hung, terrorized, living in hell. Rights they died for, shattered, betrayed, buried beneath your cruel charade. I won't build your damn wall, won't exile the hands that built it all. This land, their land, sweat in the soil. Now you plunder their past, their blood, their toil. You mock their pain with every lie, caging kids, stilling their civility. Tiny hands grasp steel bars, numb, inconsolable. Tears fall unheard, drowned in the dark, forlorn. They didn't give their lives for this. A wasteland of hate, tyranny's remains. You tell me to work together, but all I see is greed, dangerous power, poisoned sea, stolen breath, choking earth, suffocating death. Your so-called greatness is nothing but rot, smoke, a plague, a hollow plot. So listen close. In their name I rise, I roar, a flame that devours, a truth to restore. I will not recoil, I will not comply, I won't bow, won't break, I won't let this one slide. You started this war, here's my reply. I fight for those oppressed, for those cast aside. Your rule is ruin, your kingdom decay. Tyrants fall, forgotten in days, but their names remain carved into quartz. Every breath we take, every war we wage, Evers, Hampton, Malcolm, King, JFK. When you fall, remember this. My fire still burns, my soul won't quit. Every offensive engraved with flames, unyielding red, white, and blue collide, a testament stained with blood from their fight. Their courage fuels me, their fight ain't done. A wildfire rises. We are not alone. The revolution has begun. This time, it will be televised.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Deborah, I have never, ever, ever, ever heard you do anything that I didn't like. You are one of the very few people that can write a poem and make people want to join and do whatever you said. You are a very good call to action person.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. I've been listening to you for a long time. and you have never, ever, ever disappointed in your mission. I love it. What we have next? We have Ian next, and then Leslie after Ian.
Okay, thank you, Angie. You're doing great. You're doing a fine job
Thank
there. And some great poetry on here this evening, this afternoon, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. So this first one is called Dog Days. This winter sun casts thin skeleton shadows that barely cling to the hard, stony ground. Yet a strange burning oppression rattles rational minds that once seemed so sound. Now there's a new sense of oppressiveness, that self-same beast now entering Bethlehem, as lethargy overcomes the very best, while the very worst wreak total mayhem. What sultry heat is this that burns rampant over what was once seen as sacred ground? The enemy is at the gate, with alarums crashing in our ears, fearful of that dread sound of heavy boots marching out from their encampments, and we too beaten down to take up arms. First one's, second one, lost in words. Sitting here over my coffee, music hanging low in the background atmospherics of busy chatter, mingling with the soft clatter of herded crockery, these sounds blend and blur into each other like the smoky ether permeating memories of long nights in pubs and crowded bars. And all this forms the backdrop to the words forming inside my head, with a crisp clarity set against this loose wash of swirling noise that is tumbling all around me. These words carry the weight of my thoughts, like steel rails that merge and fuse as they disappear into the far distance of mental horizons, humming to the rattle of rolling rail cars, carrying their payload of bustling, clattering voices inhabiting my mind. And I'm sitting here, my coffee now growing cold, lost in words, catching hold of them to write them down. And finally, this one's a recent one. It's called Stormbringer. Winds rise up nefariously, carried on cushions of warming seas. Jeopardy prowls the thickening air. Storm warnings, rough tidings, and rising tides lie in wait up ahead, harbingers of hard times to come. Check your weather vanes to see which way the wind blows. If you have any sense at all, you'll hang on tight to your hat, though that would be the least of your worries, while suspect actors conduct negotiations in bad faith. They'd shoot the ground from beneath your feet, lying blithely to your face. Gaslighting is their MO, that and raising Cain. But anyone knows that you can't claim victory from the deepest chasm of defeats. And John the Baptist in his camel hair coat took on the Roman Empire, immersing souls in Jordan's river, but he ended up with his head on a silver platter, telling truth to power, claiming to foretell the coming of the next Messiah, but all his plans came to grief, his hero crucified like a common thief. So beware of prophets, those storm bringers that predict apocalyptic days ahead. In point of fact, begin with this poem, cast to the screaming, gyring winds, every single word I ever said. Thank you.
Your words are just so descriptive. I was just sitting here and my imagination was just like going berserk with every word. And if you can capture my imagination, you've done a great job. And you drew me in by the way, as you were reading, you were just swaying with the rhythm of your words, and you were so into it, it drew everybody else into it. Excellent. I really enjoyed you.
Thank you, Angie.
Next we have Leslie. Leslie, are you still here?
I'm here.
You have the mic.
Okay. This one's called Morning. The clock tells me to wake up. It screams to me rude. I hit the button, wait for the moment of blessed silence, and begin the descent down into my pillow for just some more. Just some more of it, please. Atmospheric today, partly cloudy at this moment. This world of my dreams, I often prefer to waking moments. Is it me humming in my sleep, or the dream music I dance to, the seductive melody of the ineffable? The clock will scream again in 5, no, 4 minutes and some seconds. It's ticking. I can hear it on the other side of the wall that it is me and other. I am other. Just let me go into the next room, the room with all the passages, the vapors, singular energies. I understand as people because I like them and I want to mingle and I want to go then into the next room with another set of singular energies I understand as people. I want to go home. It is always like this in my dreams, and I may start on a hill, the wind blowing. I may be at the ocean, the swell moving me. I may be at the highest spot, the promontories, the precipice, looking down, seeing the large, over large whales swimming in the deep and narrow river far down below. Now swimming with you, my small, small children, but gentle in their largeness, protecting you, nurturing you, you, saving you for another better time, but I will always end up in the rooms. It is time to wake up now, and once again, before the clock screams at me and alarms me and rattles me so that I am unprepared for the day, I face into it the consciousness that I, in my current body, am privy to, and face into what it is that is now me, and I am awake and prepared for the glories of this moment that is that what we call the coming day. I am awake. The second one's called, sort of continuing in the theme, the underground. It cannot be these scenes from the underground, the times we sleep, or what's called sleep, the scenes complete and whole and moving, still the freeze frame of the soul universal. The rides up these mountains, the ships so wide as to be the ocean, the endless stairs which we climb, going somewhere and nowhere, the flying through these dense and heavy skies which clear suddenly, the waves rolling in, licking our tender bodies, clean, overfull, raw, the laughter, the smiling faces of those we meet in dreams, the dear friends we once had. How can it be these worlds that we know, that we have never seen, that we cannot possibly ever see in life? It is not all joy, these dreams, this being not awake but asleep, that is not all above ground, these interior travels that will not let you go, the black bushes that reach and clutch and will not release you, the terror, the running, the lostness, the numbing of limbs and despair, the climbing and reaching to be at the surface once more on the earth, or the illusion of it, safe and protected in this life, in our dreams, this dream of this life in our dreams, time that stands still and moves us, and silent we get to look, this one glimpse, the one moment of infinity, and we are moved together like stars along the known path of sky. And then to finish, this is sort of a silly one. It's called The Arab Idea. To remain silent is to be riddled by thought, pockmarked by the desire to speak. To let it in human form, the great elongated exhale of idea, taking form as matter and action, the heated energy of shape that words take, and I will construct thought as the monuments of my being. I will instruct the hazel wand, the extension of my body in human form, to lightly play across the air before me, describing me as form. Chasing down the wind, hurried ahead of me now, dancing and joyous, preparing me for this path. I will walk to create the magic of idea to idea of me receiving and me extending and traveling with this as the carrier from the source to the source to the source to pass on to you as air touching, which touches you gently. I am safe, protected, moving in the air as idea. So that's me. Thanks.
Love all of those poems, and all of them just wraps you up and make you feel all warm and cozy. I love them. Thank you for sharing them. Clive, you have the mic, and
Hello.
Christopher, you're after Clive.
Okay, so I'm just going to do one tonight. I mean, like everybody else, I'm finding the world depressing and frightening at the moment. So, as always with me, the way to deal with it is to be stupid and hopefully make people laugh along the way. And this is something I wrote today. So it's brand new. We'll see how it goes. It is a bit off the wall, but then you expect that from me, obviously. But it's called A Chew. I'm so bloody tired. I can't even write sensible poetry anymore, but there's an event starting soon, and I've been going to it for 4 years and only ever made sense once for a minute or two. I'm drugged up and drowsy, but I've got to write something, or well, they'll think, whatever. Come on, Clive. Think obscure. Think no one will understand this, so they will assume it's deep and clever and coming from a place of great wisdom. Semolina Pilchard climbing up the Eiffel Tower. Damn, I gave that one to John Lennon. Fuck it. My neighbour sneezes like he's just had his gonads put through a bacon slicer. The noise is terrifying. When I first moved in, I called the police because I thought someone was being murdered. The copper laughed and said if they had £1 for every time they'd been called out because Herbert was sneezing, we would have a properly funded force and they would be able to investigate robberies. I hate it when people talk nonsense. He gets done for a breach of the peace every time he gets a cold. Rumour has it he got the flu once and his dog exploded. I'm not sure how that would work, but I do sometimes see him dragging a box of fireworks on the lead, as if he's hoping for a replay. I know when I look after my brother's dog, I play really loud music so that it won't hear the sneezing. It's not really necessary because it's already been diffused by a vet, but the dog always sings along and got really moody when I stopped. Refused to speak to me all night. He gets the words wrong sometimes, but I haven't got the heart to tell him. He can't read, so he's not likely to find the real lyrics online. My other neighbour thinks he's Donald Trump, so I had him shot by Herbert. Unfortunately, he sneezed as he pulled the trigger, and not only did he only shoot half his ear off, but lots of cats were blown into orbit. The ear grew back within a week, but the cats are now approaching Mars. I wish I'd listened to those who warned me that this is a dodgy neighbourhood. But eggs were cheap at the corner shop, and that drew me in. I like a nice cheap egg. But alas, all the roosters caught the flu off Herbert, and I can't afford the eggs anymore. Thank you.
I like the last part especially about the eggs. It makes no sense for eggs to be $10. So I decided I had been buying the brown eggs because most people don't know that the egg is brown before they bleach it. And it came back, we're out of brown eggs. So they sent me brown organic eggs. which I had no clue as to what an organic egg was. So when I looked it up, it said free range. And I kept thinking, now something's wrong with this picture. Because when I was growing up, all the chickens was free range. They just ran everywhere. So yeah, you're right. That thing with the egg, I think if we all quit eating eggs, they'll figure something out. What you think? I love your poetry.
Thank you.
Let's see what we have up next. We have Christopher. Are you still here?
I am.
You have the mic, darling.
Thank you. Can I share the screen?
That's what I was trying to say. Okay. Like I said, I'm new at this. Give me a second.
All right.
Here's my screen. And which one I want to share. Let's share this one. This may not be gonna happen. Amy, can you bail the sister out?
Yes, I was
Okay,
just
wait a minute. Hold on.
looking.
Let's
You
see.
get it? Oh, there
Did
you
I
go.
do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did I do it? Is it right?
Well, you shared your screen, but
Okay, hold on. Now you all hope and pray that I don't hit something that's gonna make me rock it up out of my seat. I have no, I have no, I'm sorry. I have no clue.
Me
See,
all right,
neither.
don't
I'm
worry about
looking.
it
It's
then.
usually under participants and like security or something, but I'm not.
I
If
got the
you
part to
if you
share.
go to share,
I can't figure out.
if you
Okay,
go to the share arrow and you click
Mm.
to the caret on the left, it gives you two options. The second one is the one you want.
one says multiple participants.
There you go.
Okay,
It's
everybody
working
see.
now. Christopher, go ahead and try it. It's working.
Thank you. All right, this is what I wanted to show you. This is an anthology that I talked about in the chat. I've been going to a lot of these different readings on Zoom since the pandemic. And of late, almost every single reading, without fail, has at least two or three poets who need to get something off their chest regarding what's happening in this country. So what I decided to do was to put together an anthology called Silence is Consent. In other words, if you don't speak up, I don't know whether you saw this, but Amanda Gorman was interviewed last Sunday on Meet the Press, and she said at the base of the Statue of Liberty, it's not an opinion essay, it's a poem, and it begins, "Give me your tired, you're poor." So she said, poets have to speak up. This is the platform I am providing for any poet who wants to speak up. So far I have 33 poets and 157 pages of this. So what I would like to do is read you three poems, and I'll be as quick as I can be. And if I'm not quick enough, then I will just read you two poems. But the first poem is where this thing got its title from, and it's called "The Price of Silence." In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. That's Martin Luther King. Silence is sometimes defined as the absence of sound, but silence is really the absence of action. Silence, however, is always profound. It punctuates, communicates, sometimes in pages, most often in volumes. Silence counts its victims not in hundreds or thousands, but in hundreds of thousands, in millions. Silence has forever been complicit in the silencing of the voices of millions of souls in Uganda, Rwanda, in Cambodia, Armenia, in Auschwitz, Dachau, Bergen-Belsen, and Baba Yar, Silence is cowardice. Its lips sealed as our most basic freedoms are held hostage to the absence of protest, the absence of action, the absence of sound. Silence is all of these, but most of all, for all of these, silence is consent. I have two more poems I'd like to read, and they're from another book of poetry that I wrote, but I'm going to include them in this. One of them is called Half-Eaten Dream, and it's about the first American soldier who died in Iraq when we invaded Iraq. He wasn't an American, he was a Guatemalan who was a green card soldier, and his name was Jose Antonio Gutierrez. He was 24 years old. And he said, he wrote poetry. I come from far away where angels live in misery, dress themselves in filth, and eat dreams. And this is the poem. His name was Tonio. He was one of the 120,000 homeless children of Guatemala, el polvo de la tierra, the dust of the earth. When he was 8, unlike many others, he was a survivor. His name was Tonio. He did what he could. He stole bicycles. He sold shoe glue. He begged in dusty streets in Guatemala, and from the dust of those streets, he fashioned dreams. His name was Tonio. He wrote poems. He traveled 3,000 miles by foot, by rubber, and by rail. He came to our border at 22, said he was 16. He had to. He had dreams. His name was Tonio. He attended high school in California, lived with foster parents. You're going to be proud of me, he said. I have dreams. Everyone is going to remember who I am. My name is Tonio. After high school, he enlisted in the Marines. He became a green card soldier like the 38,000 other Central American men who wear the American uniform to fight, to belong, to survive. His name was Tonio. He was a child of the streets, el polvo de la tierra, so he wanted to fight for the dust of the earth in Iraq. I'll give my life if I have to. He had to. He was killed by friendly fire a few hours after landing in Iraq. He was the war's first fatality. He died for dreams that don't die. He died an American. His name was Tonio. And the last poem that I want to read you is called Espejo, Reflection. And it's my comment about something that one of the poets earlier read about the wall. Bare beams, worn wood, metal mesh, balk at beating Arizona suns. Harris hawks stalk, screech warning cries, dive at darting jackrabbits seeking sanctuary. We gaze upon the rusted hulk of what was once a stockade, a fence, a wall, a palisade, raised against alien advance. Who were they, these aliens we so feared, that we once built such barriers? More importantly, who were we? Thank you.
Awesome job. Awesome job. Thank you for sharing about your anthology. I put in the chat that I would like for you to send me more information. I put my email and my inbox. I truly believe that poets are the way of the world. People will not read a book, but they'll read a poem in a heartbeat. So let's keep telling our story to the world through our words. Thank you again. You're greatly appreciated. I hope I pronounced this right. Is this Pip? Is that what that, did I pronounce that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go. All right, this is a poem. Hello, everyone. This is a poem made up of idioms that are mixed up. So things like it's raining cats and dogs would be it's raining dogs and cats. So I had some fun creating this one. And it goes a little bit like this. It's called Idiomaticon. I make a mole out of a mountain. I chew off more than I can bite. I'm a disguise in a blessing, and I put stomach in my butterflies. I'm the bag out the cat, the bonnet out the bee, a dozen and a dime, and the hatchet even buried me. I'm the worst of both worlds. I'm better never than late. I'm the first straw, not the last, and even when the dust settles, I'll still wait. When I'm ill, I'm over the weather. I'll be wrong as rain. Every silver lining has a cloud, but I'm the neck in the pain. I'm the eye of the apple through thin and thick. I'm that room in the elephant. That's the long and short of it. I'm the teacup in the storm. I book a judge by a cover. I'm the home that comes to the cow. Necessity's never been my mother. There's two fires in my iron. I get the road on the show, but my cat killed curiosity. But there's never fire without smoke. I've got madness to my method. I don't cut the mustard. The mustard cuts me. My words speak louder than my actions because I'm so on purpose accidentally. I add injury to insult. I make a short story long. I throw wind to the caution. It's so right, it's wrong. My blood is thinner than water. I'm twice in a blue moon. It never pours, it rains for me. I go up like a lead balloon. I'll get there by the teeth of my skin. Twice bitten, once shy. I'm always mixing things up, but that's all right. All right, my second one is equally silly. It's called I Am a Cat. I am a cat. Don't. Just before you laugh, it's more than that. It's more than whiskers, high tails, and catwalks, sandpaper tongues, and pause for thought. It's more than curling up into a self-contained ball or rolly gravity performance falls. It's more than just a card box. A carrier bag appreciation never gets dull. Live your life to the full. It's more than industrial strength purring or a tonal portfolio of a range of meowing. Feline underestimation is a critical mistake. Perhaps the Egyptians were right, so listen up for the cat's sake. I'm sure that Descartes, that philosopher, he would agree that meditating is a feline criticality, hiss and purr. I'm a cat, therefore I am, but just don't put too much catnip in my lamb. My cat once won a competition for the second most appealing expression in the whole of the Northeast in South Tyneside. Too many hisses, then your cat's disqualified. Fashioning the feline aesthetic from claw to paw, embracing the legacy of feline folklore. It's a requiem for a feline dream. But cats are like poets, you know. They're so much more than they seem. Thank you.
You are theatrical, you're dramatic, you're animated, and you make people hang on every word, every space, every accent, everything. We have no choice but to hear you because you make it so interesting. Thank you. Let's see, I have Robert, then Lisa.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Fleming. I'm a visual poet from Lewis, Delaware, United States. And I'm going to share some visual art today. This was a response to a submission for Hayden's Fairy Review, where the theme was maximalism, excess, abundance, and ornate. And for anybody who remembers their architecture, there was a period in the 1800s called Rococo, which is similar to this prompt. My first art, this was the original image of a pig, and I applied a visual filter called voxel art, which makes the image look like it is Lego. So this is called Voxel Art Pig at Tiki Bar. My second image is from a rattlesnake den, and I applied a filter called Pixel Art Studio. And then this is the side-by-side of the original on the left, and then the art piece on the right. The next image is called From an Anaconda Breeding Ball. And then here is the graphic image that I created. I applied several filters to this. One is hibiscus to make it, to add the pink to it. And then I added a filter called Liquefied Melt. This is the next image, which is a photograph I took of snow geese about 15 miles north of where I live at Fowler Beach. And then I applied a filter to make the image look between black and white. It's called Tracer. And then on the left side is the original image. On the right side is the digital art. Here's an image of a herring ball that I scraped from the internet. And then again, I applied a tracer filter to create the graphic image. And then the original image is on the left, and then the edited image on the right. This is the last one, which I scraped from the internet. It's a growing field for watermelon. And again, I have a tracer image, which is black and white. And then side by side, I have the original and the black and white. Thank you for letting me share my digital art images with you. And the connection I have with poetry is that I create many book covers for poetry books, as well as for the literary magazines that your works appear in. So thank you for letting me come and share my art with you.
You always have interesting pieces, and I always enjoy them. They've been doing this, what is the AI, where you do the animal over people, and it's really cool the way they do it. And someone did it on America's Got Talent. I think that's what it is. And it shocked everybody. So it was hilarious, the expression on everybody's face. So you bring joy. And I just have one question for you. Is the blue eyebrows part of your display?
It is part of a filter that you can have through Zoom. So, girl Angie, I could make your eyebrows blue too.
I like my eyes to change colors. That's what I like. My grandkids, when we do the video chats, we always do it through Meet, and we sit up and play with all these different stupid filters. And if anybody comes past and look, they're trying to figure out why me, supposed to be an adult, acting like a little kid. But it's so much fun. Thank you so much. Let's see, we have Lisa, then we have Mr. Potastic himself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You good?
Okay. I'm having a bad hair day and I'm wearing glasses from the 10th grade because I don't have my contacts. But I have two poems today. And the first one is called Fountain Square. At Fountain Square, I traded my high school graduation currency for a pale pink negligee set from Victoria's Secret, a gangly bottle of lingerie wash with which to launder it all, a YouTube biography I insisted on loaning you, and cumbersome cheese pizza and jumbo Pepsi to wolf down like there was no tomorrow once our summer post-senior year ran dry. Then you waited good-naturedly outside the mall restroom stall for me to vomit all there was to digest that summer. Then I think it was you who paid for the paddle boat afterward. Our furious peddling only seemed to steer us head-on into what we tried to avoid. The center of the fountain, the flagrant, unpredictable lashes of power wash, the jets scattershot soaking, muddled bits of wetness where we'd most felt secure. When you mess with the source of all randomness, there's no coming out untouched. But we shielded what we cared about most. Fist-gripped shopping bags steadied on a dry patch on the boat seat, a purse binding a zipped-over camera, I forget whose. Was it the wind, the random fountain sprays, or our own lack of commitment to pedal together? A gift of laughing, while risking ruining what little we had. But this isn't like the lockdown. Ignorance is peace in cases like these. I'm free from knowing how you were found, by whom, what exactly you decided to do with yourself, and where you did it. You talked and texted with many classmates that last week, but I wasn't one of them. After scrambling to learn back in 2020 what was going on at his hospital, knowing I'll never know the full story on you is a random act of grace. The day before I heard about you, the Victoria's Secret showed itself on a closet hanger, sandwiched between suits, sticky with a stain on the lace. The man who died before marrying me never saw the negligee. The lingerie wash disappeared before ever being used. The YouTube biography was likely forgotten in your shuffle between Knoxville and Fayetteville and Huntsville, between marriages and motherhood. One move prompting another and then another, expecting that book back was too much. I like to picture it as a part of me still with you, unfinished business translated into a bond never broken, something not to be dampened or eroded. I don't remember what, I don't remember how. And the second and last poem is called The Last Reel. Maybe it was on YouTube Live. Maybe it was recorded. The music was still making its rounds. Surviving friends and bandmates launched into one final instrumental reel. They'd done right by him, capstoned that last leg of his journey through the dales and valleys. They'd circumnavigated his world in a day, tapered the loose ends into a feathering wreath. He had, we could all agree, signed out successfully. Perhaps he played the fiddle, or else the tin whistle. But wherever his post, some faceless substitute sat in for him on stage to see the song through until it was time for the class reunion to quietly disperse again. The camera lens knocked and jerked. The view skewed itself. Softly illuminated figures shifted, unlocked one after another in the shadowed auditorium, disengaged from the sunken theater chairs and shifted into the blur. The last remaining reel played on. I stepped away from the table where my laptop was propped. Escaping into the kitchen, I made a game of rummaging in the pantry, stuck my head in the fridge, maybe made an appearance there, rearranged the brown cow yogurt cups and white cheddar Kerrygold blocks. For good measure, whatever it was I took out, I promptly plopped into a saucepan. But the video slowly died out behind me. I left the YouTube window on where it was. A few minutes were left to go to keep the live wire live. If only we could stay online together in the moment before us without stopping, without pausing, fast forwarding, or dare we think it into being, rewinding. Something crackled on the burner. The light stayed on in the next room. The laptop kept its standstill while I stared back at it from the kitchen. But I was moving on. I wasn't there. Nothing was completely over until I decided it was. Windows could stay open. Whatever we want can still simmer on the back burner a while. Whatever was tenuous could still hold in time for us. Like he never really flatlined until that last reel ran its course. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I enjoyed both of those. They were very good, well written, well said. Thank you. Robert, did I miss you? Guys, did I miss Robert? I don't think I did. I just want to make sure didn't miss him and skip over him to Lisa. Mr. Potastic,
You
did I
didn't
miss
miss
him?
me, but I still miss you, girl.
You know what? I saw it and I went, I didn't hear a poem. Did I mess up? Thank you, Mr. Blue Hair Eyes. Mr. Potastic, you're on the mic, and Lynette, you're next. Eddie, are you there? He must have stepped away. Lynette, you go ahead. I'll come back to Eddie. You can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Well, it's evening on my side. So I'm going to do two short pieces, just arranging them on the screen. Sorry. Okay, so the first one is called The Lost Sock, because we've all lost a sock at some point in our lives. Many speak of the prodigal son, his father's elation when he returned, or the shepherd's pride and satisfaction on locating the 100 sheep that was lost. Snow White was also a lost subject, found and captured love simultaneously. Parables and folklore speak of loss, while chronicling the joy of finding. But my joy is much simpler and somewhat richer. After much searching in the home, on the lines, and between the sheets, it wasn't love I discovered, though my find was in an unexpected place. In my handbag, I found my lost sock. So that's my first piece. And then the second piece is journal, and it's dedicated to all the awesome writers here today because you guys continue to inspire. So journal. I can write a poem every day. I guess that means I have a lot to say. I think I can effect some change. I think my poems will help you understand. I think my poems from an amateur hand will make you think, help you understand that sometimes life is a real demand. My simple words from a thought that occurred while making juice or eating fruits, reading fiction or inhaling truths might inspire you to write your own or make you think about what is shown. My poems may not all come from experience, but seeing through someone else's events, poems of love and community life, poems of politics and peace alike. I hope I encourage you to write. Your pen is your messenger. Use it well. You may not know the joy you tell, the hearts you may inspire. Love of poetry, styles of fire. Dedicated to all the wonderful people, especially our featured reader, Richard, and everyone else who blessed the mic. Thank you so much for continuing to inspire the world with your words.
Thank you so much. You have this cool little accent going on, and it makes whatever you read and recite, it gives it an extra flair. Thank you. Next, we have Lord. After Lord, we have Aaliyah. Eddie, are you back? Guess not. After Lord, we have Aaliyah. After Aaliyah, we'll have Doc. Lloyd, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm ready to go.
you have the mic, darling.
Okay. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. Well, I am basically at ground zero, somewhat north of the Gulf of Denial, slightly south of the Mason-Dixon line. Since 1976, I have celebrated Black History Month, regardless of who or who did not celebrate it. And I have a lot of poems that I do this time of year, and this is one of them. It has kind of a call and response aspect to it, but only in the first line, or the first two lines. So if you feel motivated to, you can unmute your mic or you can respond in the comments to the question I ask. So here we go. Who made the world's most famous violin?
Various.
Stradivarius. He was from Cremona, Italy. He was the artist who is known for his creation. All modern violins are made from his designs. We know his name because history marked him down as a creator. Who made the banjo? It was an African, but we'll never know their name because they were branded and sold as livestock, enduring an unrepentant age. Their real name was taken from them, like the ground beneath their feet. Their real name was forbidden from ever being mentioned again under pain of death. Even though they were names as old as the ancient oceans, they were chained across, gasping for breath, not knowing whether to pray for survival or death. I hope they would be proud, if allowed, to know that their creation made a name for itself beyond the world where they were stolen and sold away.
Wow.
Beyond the world after everything they knew was taken. Beyond the lifetime of being beaten and worked to death over greed and sugar cane. The earliest word we know from being written down is Banjar. 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 Was that their name? Or as much as they could remember? Was it a word for something secret, like an insult? Was it an old word for comfort? Was it a word for a dance or a celebration? Could it have been the name of a song? The very first one? Did they make it from a tree trunk that they found, like one from home, one that sang in ancient tongues? Did they make it of scraps from the master's house? Did they take a beating for it? For making beautiful music? We'll never know their motivation or the full cost, but that kind of action goes beyond mere discovery to fight the heart of hate and propaganda. The creator of the banjo, whether one person or many, lived on the island of Barbados as a slave, where the masters got paid for sugar cane that was grown by the whip and chain, by the death and sweat and blood of many, many, many slaves. From 1625 to 1834, over 400,000 slaves died in Barbados under British rule. It was a death camp. It was genocide. Life was short and brutal, but somehow under oppression, the banjar was made. Under the boot heel of racism and oppression, an artist looked for beauty, and with the skills that came from having nothing, manifested a sound so perfect, even the master couldn't ignore it. The banjo is played all over the world. It is an instrument of the profound, found, stole, and resold as the rights of conquest, but their real victory came from the banjo's endurance. From plucking a string manifest destiny didn't expect or justify, and making a sound that is heard around the world and can't be denied. people can't be livestock because livestock does not create. This by itself is proof of humanity. It is proof of equality, and it is not alone.
Wow.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome job. Awesome.
thank you. I'm going to put a link to my book in the comments. It's called Vestibular, Vestibular. It's recently available on Amazon. And that poem, unfortunately, is not in it, but there's a lot of other good poetry in it. So anyway, thank you all. And I really, really love everyone's work. I got to say thank you all for sharing. The work tonight has been spectacular. So thank you. Unfortunately, Richard Harris has left. I really wanted to tell him how much I loved his work, and Into the Woods, I think, was the title that really spoke to me the loudest, although all of his work was so powerful. But thank you all. And thank you, Miss Angie, for hosting. You're doing a great job. I really like it.
Thank you. Let's see what we got next. Aaliyah, then Doc. Trying to see if Eddie has come back. Aaliyah, you have the mic.
Okay. Let's see. So I have two, but I might stop at one, so we'll see. All right. Let me go ahead and pull this one up. Okay, the first one is called Collected Dolls. Not the ones in the big department stores with their perfect sparkling pink outfits. These are the almost discarded ones, buried at the bottom of thrift store bins or inside the lost and found box at the Piggly Wiggly. The ones tucked away in dusty flea markets or rummage sales for the local church. These are the chosen ones, or perhaps the untamed, calling out ones that speak the language of a little girl's heart, whispering, "We are going to have so many adventures, and I will keep your secrets close." Their tattered dresses, matted hair, scuffed up legs, and marker-stained faces carry a statement that they have seen some things, weathered the storms of another girl's unlocked imagination. These dolls have spirits that leap with glee from deep within toy chests, or spring high off shelves, eager to travel along on any journey. With their steady, doughy eyes, they trace the lining of their new owner's smile, tuck all their hopes and wishes in their overall pockets or inside bloomers for safekeeping. Their plastic bodies are sturdy enough to withstand being tossed around and, most of all, hugged until an ounce of life is left, still ready to share even more love. But no one ever asks the doll of their hidden hurt from abandonment. When a little girl grows into adolescence, or even more dreadful, their suffering or silent ache when they are left on the bus, tossed in yet another bin, or exhaled to the attic, and not taken to the next house. No longer can the doll shield its owner, even though it knows what awaits her. Seemingly harmless, yet ever watchful over the little girl in the face of danger. If given a chance, the doll will call upon the ancient collective doll spirit so she wouldn't have to bear the brunt all alone.
That was really cool. You
Thank you.
reminded me of Toy Story.
Thank you. That was my first one. Hopefully I have just a few more moments. This is my second one. Similar vein. I guess that's me. This one's called A Stranger Savior. There are times when a stranger becomes a human, more than a bird crashing into your window or trash hastily thrown out from 12 stories up. A human, like the pearl of a mother dying on the table, giving birth to an angel. A stranger, for a moment, reminds you of the frayed World War II photo of your grandfather's soot-stained face, hollowed out by both time and life. But this is not a war theater. It's a courtyard overlooking the majestic movie house with flashing neon lights, showing a 7 o'clock feature. The stranger, a beggar, in a Vietnam war jacket, stares with pensive slate blue eyes at the little girls hidden inside, consumed by memories of dolls once cherished as humans. His wrinkled hands mirror your grandmother's at her last Sunday dinner, adamant that she'll need the dough because you were coming home. As you drive away, you see smoke bellowing from a house ahead. Without hesitation, you stop in the middle of the road, heartbeats in peril more urgent than the breath in your lungs. Frantically, you pound on the door. Hearing a baby cry, you smash a window, ignoring the shards slicing into your hands. You leap over the fallen mother, her body slack, a cracked pipe dangling from her gnawed fingers. You lift the wailing baby from its crib. With baby in tow, you drag the mother out, coughing, fanning yourself, rejoicing in relief, filling the air. And then it hits you. As you catch a glimpse of the woman's face, you gasp in disbelief. Time stills. The stranger you save is your very own daughter. Thank you.
That was very touching. I like that. You have great skills. I enjoyed your poem.
Thank you. And I enjoy you being a host. You're awesome. The host with the most.
Thank you. Doc, where are you?
I am here.
You have the mic, you have the floor.
Thank you. My first piece is titled Yo-En. It's Japanese and it expresses a deep connection or strong bond. Within the chiaroscuro of memory lies an inscape and an introspection, a sacred space, a space of life and its vicissitudes, a space which holds all the symbols and songs, music and magic of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. A composition of the now in the wabi-sabi of time and the Tao of infinity. The Yo-En of self. The second one is titled Stars Like Grains of Sand. Stars like grains of sand on galactic shores gather in chiaroscuro dunes, carry with them all the moments, hopes, and dreams of infinity. Sing in refracted colors, light and shadow of time seeking itself. Dream in ancient memory of eons and ages, beginnings and endings. Dance a whirling waltz in sensuous spiral arms, the dance of time. Exist in a profusion of moments, and in death give life. And I will finish with Unite, Stand, Resist. I mourn for our country and decry the willful ignorance, greed, and lust for power which brought us to this state. I mourn for all who are or will be affected by pronouncements and actions of those ill fit for elected office. I mourn and I call for resistance. Resist in any and every legal manner. Vote against those who aid and abet this assault on our constitutional republic. Vote as though your life depends on it, for it does. Vote though you may never have voted before. Register and vote. Non-voters would have been the difference. Speak out, use your voice, and voice the truth of reality. Call your senators, your congressional representatives, your state senators and representatives, your local officials, Protest the harmful rollbacks, the unthinking, uncaring edicts, the bigotry and misogyny, the unconstitutional acts, the ignorant and unqualified bureaucrats. Unite, stand, resist. Thank you.
You know, you always deliver. You know, I love your poetry. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Eddie, are you back? I think Eddie has left the building. Have I skipped anyone? Did I get everyone? I hope I didn't skip anyone. But I would really, really like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting Richard, and most of all, helping me recover before I crash. I hope that as I be a host, that I will be able to land and take off smoothly. And with that, I have a poem that I want to close out with, and I hope that it will take you all through the week and beyond. Because life is a little crazy right about now. It's called Peachy Blessed Day. When I wake up in the morning and smell the honeysuckle as it creeps gently across the meadow, I know that God's angel mercy, tenderly touched once again, lovingly and gently woke me up. It's going to be a peachy blessed day. When I hear the rhythmic thump of the rain on the old tin roof and see the monstrous winds tossing huge trees to and fro all around me, I know that God's angel goodness has once again protected me. It's going to be a peachy blessed day. When life's walls start closing in around me and Satan's knocking at every door and climbing through the windows too, I know that God's angel, peace, has once again comforted me. It's going to be a peachy blessed day. I know that if God brought me to the mountain, he would guide me through the mountain. I know that nothing is impossible for my God. I know that God has worked out my problems while I'm still thinking about them. I know that he is an awesome God. God, an awesome God. And that is why it is always going to be a peachy, blessed day. I know the world is in a whole lot of perils right about now, and I hope that poem will take you through and let you know that ain't nothing politics can do to us that God can't handle. You guys, thank you so much for being here, supporting me, supporting Richard. Have an awesome, awesome week. Until next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Beautiful evening. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all. Lovely
Angie.
evening. Did a great job hosting.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a
much.
great
Thank
kickoff
you.
for the coming week.
It is.
Yes.
I hope so.
And,
Thank you,
and I
guys.
need it. And I need it. I need it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone
Bye.
behave. I'm not going to tell you how to.
No guarantees.
I'm not telling you how to.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.